What up guys, Fojo here, and today I'm coming to you with a bit of an update for New World and some of the things that are happening in New World in the next update. And I've got to say there's a ton going on, but most importantly for me I think is that there will no longer be any orbs or any tuning orbs of any kind that you need to access the dungeon anymore. Now these tuning orbs will still be useful for all the materials that you have put into them, and you will be able to use them for something. But we'll get into that here in a second. But real quick, if you guys could like the video, subscribe to the channel. About 90% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. And if you could subscribe really quick and hit the bells for notifications to let you know when new videos coming out, that would really be helpful. Also, leave a comment about what you think about the new update. What are you most excited for it? And do you think they should be adding anything else, or are they missing anything? But for these tuning orbs, they are changing the system completely from what they have. They have heard the community. They understand that they no longer want the tuning orbs, or haven't really wanted them for a long time. But they're finally getting around to getting rid of these, being able to transfer the system to a new one, to where the system will now be in place of 15 regular dungeons you can run a day, I believe, and then also 20 mutated dungeons a week. And I'm sure they'll adjust those numbers if feedback is given about whether it's too much, too little, what people want to see with it. But I think this is a huge change that has been needed for a while now, and they're finally getting around to making it. I'm super happy that they're changing this. It'll be interesting to see if this number works for people and if it's kind of the right range or if it needs to be changed somewhat. But for now, I think it's a great change, and I can't wait for it to be implemented. I will say that if you do have extra orbs laying around for these dungeons, you will then get a chance to roll for the boss's loot in that dungeon. I'm not sure how they're going to handle mutated orbs. If that's just you can use whatever dungeon you wish to, or if it's a roll for a random one, I don't know. But it's a big change, and it's really exciting that this is happening. And I think it's a good solution to your extra tuning orbs. It's too bad you can't fully use them. If you want to use them now, don't make a bunch of extras, or make a bunch of extras and roll for dungeon materials and drops from that boss. Up to you, because I do not know what the leftover materials that are usually used to make tuning orbs will be used for. It's hard to say if they'll be utilized for something else, or if they're going to be not useful like they were before. Hard to say at this point. But there's a ton of other changes coming to the game. It seems like they're almost reworking the entirety of loot itself, to where you will no longer see hardly any greens, a lot less blues, and a lot more purples, and even more legendaries. And the legendaries will have better perks rolling on them than they were before, as well as they're completely rehauling the entirety of how perks work. And it seems like they're trying to balance things out a lot more, to where you can use a lot more perks, and that way not just a few of them are useful, and you can kind of swap around depending on what your class is, or if you want to play a certain style. You're going to have more options now and won't be pigeonholed into a few really good perks and having to roll for those. You'll have the option of multiple good perks that you can have and not be stuck with just a few options, which I think them paying enough attention to wanting to balance out the game a little more and give people options for running stuff late game is really great. They're also doing a ton of reworking to skills as well. They're making fishing and logging much faster from 1 to 200, which is much needed. I will gladly take upgraded speeds for 1 to 200. But you're also going to see lower XP to hit for getting furnishing and weaponsmithing levels as well. So that'll be a lot faster to get those two. Not as brutal to go through all those materials and try and get through it all. So that's going to be great to do that. And another really cool feature that they talked about a little bit was that at the end of a dungeon, you get the drop of like Fury, or you're looking for Doom's Chance or something specific in that dungeon. You can now break down named drops, and you'll get new materials from those, to where if you get enough of these materials, you can craft the item that you actually wanted from that dungeon instead. So if you happen to get 15 Furies and you wanted a Doom's Chance, you can craft your own Doom's Chance. You don't have to go into this dungeon and keep grinding out for that one thing. You can actually craft it if you've gotten enough other legendary drops to be able to do this, which I think that's a fantastic way to do it. So they're also overhauling the salvaging or dismantling of items so that now when you do this, you have the chance to perfectly dismantle something, which gives you the option to actually have a resource that you can use to research trade skills and stuff or to craft items. So it's going to give you a lot better reward for dismantling things since we dismantle hundreds of items every day and don't really get anything from it but a little bit of gold. I think them working on the dismantling system is a huge, huge, great change. That will be very rewarding for players because that's something that you tear down an item, maybe getting back some resources from it that would have been used to create it would have been great too. But I will take what we can get for right now for salvaging items. Who knows what we're actually going to get for that? They may kind of work on that during the PTR and see what kind of things they can come up with. But right now we're at least going to get something from dismantling items. Kind of the last thing I haven't hit on yet is that with your crafting materials like flux and sandpaper, it seems as though they may be upgrading all of these materials to level 5 to where only level 5 materials drop. So you're only going to get obsidian, flux, and sandpaper. So, like, these materials will all be top tier. That way, you're going to get the max out of your crafting and refining. So, if you have leftovers of the lower tier materials, it sounds like they're going to give you ways to upgrade these. So, this may be an opportunity to make some money depending on how they do this. If you have a lot of lower end crafting materials, so maybe hang on to those for right now. They might be able to be transferred into the higher end ones, which might be pretty nice. And if all of these things weren't enough, we also have a new expedition coming, Barnacles and Black Powder. I'm very excited about this. Not a ton of information on it just yet, but I'm sure with the PTR we'll learn a bunch about it, and I'm super stoked on it coming out. If it's anything like Tempest Heart, it's going to be amazing. They said it's very different from the ones they've done in the past, so it'll be interesting to see what direction they've gone with this. But if it holds up to Tempest Heart, then we'll be in luck and we'll have a really good dungeon come out. And they have a summer event happening. The summer event is called the Medley Fair. They didn't give a ton of information on that, or if it's going to be a bigger event like the winter event, or if it's going to be a smaller one like the rabbit event. Hopefully, it's a larger one like the Yetis. I thought that was a great event, and I think if they did a lot more stuff like that, the world will keep changing and expanding. I think the larger events are a lot more impactful for the world. They also said that the group finder will be coming next month as well, so that's going to be great. Hopefully it'll work right and do everything it needs to do. It'll help replace some of the looking for group and looking for tank or whatever you need to do. So hopefully that'll get taken care of in that update. I gotta say there's a ton coming out with this new update, and I'm very excited. It seems like all really good changes. Obviously, let me know in the comments if you think otherwise and you think there's some really odd stuff or if it's great. I'm really excited to see what they do. A lot of cool stuff coming. But I want to say thank you guys for tuning in and listening to this. This is just after their update on what their team is doing for the next update and what's going to be happening. So I'm excited to see all these changes. It sounds like they've done a lot for this update, and I'm really excited to see how it goes because this is a lot for them to push out. And hopefully it doesn't come with a ton of bugs, but you never know. But this is everything they're saying sounds really good, and I hope it goes really smoothly. And I can't wait to see it roll out. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll have more videos out soon. I hope to see you there.